So at San Antonio Airport, New Year's Eve day, and I was talking to a couple of TCU players who were heading home for their winter break. I said, would you be willing to speak off the record? Marvin, I got some answers that made me just shake my head. We're going to talk about that on this next episode of Locked on USC. And I think Marvin's got a few things he needs to get off his chest as well. It's all coming up next.
You are Locked on USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone, and welcome to Locked on USC, part of the Locked on Podcast Network. It's also the #1 sports podcast network. So whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you want to download your podcast, this show is always going to be free, and this show is always going to appreciate your support. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So I'm waiting for my flight, Marvin, and there's a couple of TCU players standing nearby, and I asked them for their honest assessment. I said, no holds barred. This is off the record. No names are going to be included in this, not yours, not the USC players you want to talk about. I wanted their opinion on what they saw from USC. The first thing out of their mouth was this. Quote, they have an explosive offense, and we knew they were missing some players, but at the same time, we could tell they were not as excited to play this game as we were. The other one said, inside the tunnels, the USC team was already talking like they had won the game at halftime and showing us a little respect. Reminding everybody, USC was trailing 14-13 at half. On defense, they have some really, really good athletes, but their effort doesn't match, and they struggle at tackling. End quote. Marvin, I'm fine with players running smack. It's the nature of the beast. That's part of the game. I get it. However, you better back it up if you're going to play a game of jawbone. That's how I feel about it. You better back it up. So in other words, if you're going to talk the talk, you walk the walk. That part, again, that doesn't bother me as much as they weren't when they said they weren't excited to play the game, and especially the lack of effort part. I mean, literally, at that point, my untrained eyes that were watching it from the press box, my whole thoughts were confirmed. I did my instant reaction show around 2 o'clock in the morning earlier. MVP 3. First of all, Happy New Year to you and your family.
Thank you. Same to you.
Tell me what you saw.
Yeah. Well, first of all, to the comments that were made by the unknown TCU players, I believe them. If they say that they felt USC was unmotivated to play that game, I believe them. Why do I believe them? Because almost 30 years ago, 27 years ago, we were in the same situation. We played TCU at the end of the 98 season. We were 17.5-point favorites. We were the biggest favorite of all the bowls that year. And I'll be honest, when they first announced that we were playing TCU, a lot of guys didn't even know if it was in Tennessee or in Texas or what. It was like TC who, and that wasn't disrespect. That was honestly like we didn't know who we were playing. And listen, we weren't, greatly motivated to go out there and play this unknown team who we were huge favorites over. And we went out there and we lost. We lost the game to TCU. LaDainian Tomlinson was the backup running back, not even the starting running back. Basil Mitchell was our starting running back, and they ran all over us, beat us in the Sun Bowl. This USC team thought at a certain point this year, they thought they were going to the playoffs. They thought that was really where they were headed, and it was realistic for them. And I believe that when that opportunity left and they didn't have that, it's realistic that a lot of these guys weren't really up for this game. Now, listen, I think that speaks to culture. Now, in my case, when we lost to TCU, they fired the coach the next year, okay, Paul Hackett, all right? They gave him one more year, and then he was out, all right? And then Pete Carroll came in.
Right.
And we'll get to this, I guess, later on, but I think we're headed to the same type of situation. But, what I saw a lot of missed tackles. I didn't see a lot on offense that was inspiring, to be honest with you. I saw our quarterback make multiple plays that he didn't do that all year. He wasn't in games, throwing some of those balls that he threw. I didn't think our O-line was great, to be honest with you. I thought King Miller ran hard. I do. I think he ran hard. I think that Tunick Hines, showed some promise. I think he showed us something. Jalen Richardson made, some great plays. But as a whole, we didn't look like a playoff team out there. We didn't look like a team that was on the verge of the playoffs. We didn't look like a team. I mean, when you look at our regular season, okay, we ended the season. We were 9-3, and again, undefeated at home. And you kind of felt like there'd be some momentum going into this game to kind of make up for some of those losses we had in the regular season, kind of show people exactly what our young guys are doing. Lincoln's been talking about the development of our team and our younger guys, and these practices are so important. I didn't see none of that in this game. It shocked me. First of all, I wasn't worried at halftime at all. I really wasn't worried at halftime. It shocked me that we were down. Okay. And then obviously the collapse in the second half was everything. But I just saw a team that didn't look organized, didn't look together, didn't look good, man. We didn't look good out there at all.
And that's what bothered me the most. This was a showcase for all these younger players that had an opportunity to play in the game because guys were opting out, going to the NFL, injured, whatever the situation was with a particular player. With that being said, these are the guys who are saying, hey, coach, watch me because I want to be the dude next year, whatever position they play. It doesn't matter. But to have that kind of effort, or at least not a full 100% effort, back to your point. It sounds like there's a culture problem going on still. A little bit of I won't call it a lack of respect for TCU. However, I don't know, man.
No, there probably was. I mean, just call it what it is. There probably was a lack of respect for TCU. I mean, seriously. I mean, I just, listen, it's not.
You brought it up just a second ago, and I don't want to belabor it, but I want to just keep plowing through here. I think everybody, myself included, anticipated. We knew Jaden Mayaba was going to start the bowl game, right? We knew he was going to play most of the game. Why not give Husan Longstreet some packages? You had a month to figure this out before the bowl game.
That's what I was expecting. I was expecting to see Husan Longstreet go out there and do something, especially considering how, there's this conversation about, is he leaving? Is he staying? Right. If I'm Lincoln Riley, I'm thinking, this is an opportunity to show this kid the kind of packages we can have for him for next year. You know what I'm saying? And, granted, he played this year, but you don't have a ton of tape on this kid. You know what I'm saying? He played a couple plays. So it would have been, for us, it would have been to our benefit to have him out there and showcasing the different things he can do in the pocket, out of the pocket, scrambling, on the move, whatever it may be, because he's a different player than Jaden Mayaba is. So that would have been to our benefit to use him as a kind of weapon. And again, just showing him, hey, maybe next year you stay here and this is what we could do. So we didn't get none of that. We got basic offense. We didn't get a whole. I don't feel like we got a whole lot of
plays. No trick plays.
Yeah, I mean, but doing trick plays on third and fourth down in the rain, at Notre Dame, but in this bowl game where you have all this time to practice, you're practicing all these guys. I mean, I was looking for Lincoln to show off. I was looking for him to show off something. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we went in there from a coaching perspective, not respecting them. You know what I mean? It's one thing if the kids fell away, but the coaches should have had that under control. And I just don't feel like we got Lincoln's his best effort out there. And I felt like Lincoln felt we were going to roll, and we didn't. TCU kept fighting, and I don't feel like we fought back.
Well, something odd about that game, leading up to the game all week, USC was like a 6.5 point favorite. Day before the game, that line dropped.
Yeah.
All right, well, somebody knows something.
Right.
And I don't think USC announced any new injuries to a specific player. But again, no Husan Longstreet. Coming into the season, allegedly Utah's #1 wide receiver, Zacharias Williams, who came over to USC through the transfer portal, got hurt. He was healthy for this game. He played a lot in this game. He was lined up out there at wide receiver. They did not target him one time. And he's supposed to be one of the next guys coming up.
Yeah, he was somebody who I was really excited about. He got a lot of hype coming out of Utah. He was going to be their #1 receiver. And that's saying something. Utah's a hell of a program. They are, I mean, compared to what we've been doing recently, they're a tough program. So I thought he was going to come in here and really be a threat, for us. But the injury got to him. And then yesterday, he didn't even see him. I was excited to see him out there, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and I'm happy that Tanuk, played okay, and Jalen made a great catch, and
beautiful.
We had a couple of tight ends in there, but we didn't see this. He wasn't showcased at all, and that it was just weird to me. So I wonder how that impacts him moving forward, to be honest with you. And it just wasn't good for us, man. But Mark, we didn't look good. We didn't look good. And Lincoln was talking about these practices and just how valuable they are, and all the good work they're getting in. And I mean, he realizes that, Lincoln hasn't been doing great. You know what I'm saying? So again, I thought this was going to be something good for us to take into the off season, this an offensive explosion, defensive conquests. And it was none of that, man. It was none of that. Link, it leaves you speechless, man. I mean, I'm watching the game on my laptop. When the game's over, I just slammed my laptop down, went upstairs, went to bed. I didn't even process it. I was so angry. You know what I mean? But I didn't see any evidence of any extra work in the ball practice. I didn't see a ton of promising on the offense, showcasing other guys. And like I said, I didn't see the creativity. And it was just it was sad, man. It was a sad performance. And I know Trojan fans, Trojan alumni, Trojan Nation was pissed off because they felt the same way. You know what I mean? This should have been the catapult into next season, because next season, is Lincoln's season, which we'll get into. But it was not that. And now we have to deal with the loss and have to deal with that taste in your mouth in the off season. And the fact that Lincoln can get these guys fired up and his butt is, on the hot seat. Realistically, now he is for real. What does that say about his leadership? I don't know. What does it say about the reality of the leadership on the team? You know what I mean? So it was disheartening, man.
Well, let's talk about that in the next segment, because I think you're setting it up perfectly. I've got Lincoln Riley's quote after the game. He's a great salesperson. He could paint a picture. Problem is, that picture never ends up the way he's intending it to be. We'll talk about that in the next segment. And in the third segment, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's kind of yours to roll with. It's time to hit the reset button. I'm talking about not just next year,
right?
I'm talking about the year after that as well. We're
Right.
going to talk about that coming up next. Fridays already feel different during the basketball season, and FanDuel is making them feel even better. Every Friday night before the game tips off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame. It's a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app right before the action is going to start. Look, in real life Happy Hour, it's always fun. You're hanging out with your friends, getting a little loose. Now you have an appointment for Happy Hour. Fridays from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. They become an appointment viewing event you want to be with NBA Happy Hour. And the timing, it's perfect. Literally, right before the game starts, right before the weekend starts. So before the tip-off, check out the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during the NBA Happy Hour. It's every Friday from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Once again, everybody, Happy New Year. Thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. All right, I got a message from my everydayers who like to listen to Locked On USC on their favorite podcast platform rather than watch this face. Look, since you already live USC every day, here's a chance for you to literally take it up a level. Go ad-free. You can join the Everydayer Club today, and you're going to get Locked On USC with no interruptions. You're going to get the members-only Discord access, and you're actually going to get a whole lot more than that. And you can get it all for just $5 a month, $50 a year. Check out the link in the show's description page for more information. All right, Marvin, we already know the defensive shortcomings. I mean, they're well documented. We've been watching it all year. We've been hoping it would get a little bit better. We know we're replacing Antonlynn now. However, let's stick on the offensive side of the ball. First and goal, the 2-yard line, and you can't score a touchdown, and instead you end up going backwards. Unacceptable.
Yeah.
There were other offensive possessions that were just as unacceptable, and it has everything to do with play calling. There's two horrible, well, there's more than two, but two possessions that really stuck out. The one in overtime that I was talking about, first and goal at the 2-yard line, ended up settling for a field goal. Here's a couple of others. So USC had 2 3-and-out drives that took fewer than 2 minutes off the clock. This is late in the game. One of them, the only time when they literally they could not afford to do that. I mean, at this point in the game, you're saying, all right, the clock is our friend. Work the clock. We've got a 10-point lead. When you get the ball with 4 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the game, I mean, you're inviting disaster to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why I said on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC, it felt like Groundhog Day. I went immediately, I'm thinking in the press box, I feel Tulane coming on again. Same type of loss. It happened.
Yeah.
Then on 3rd down and 6, okay, the best play to get a first down in Coach Riley's bag of tricks is a deep sideline fade route for 30 yards?
Yeah, the goal ball to Tanuk.
Yeah.
Marvin,
I've said it so many times throughout these last couple of years. Now I'm going to pound the message home. I think it's time for Jen Cohen to put her foot down and tell her head football coach it's time to hire an offensive coordinator, play caller. Lincoln, you need to be the head coach. You need to be the CEO. You need to let everybody else do the other stuff. Doesn't mean I'm saying Lincoln don't be involved with the offense. I'm saying there's too much going on during the game.
Yeah. I mean, listen, on that play on the goal ball to Tanuk on 3rd down, I'm thinking he either wants a flag. He's trying to draw the flag, which is strategic. And, we've seen that happen this year. But I think there were many other options considering where we were in that game, better options that he could have just put together. And you're right. I mean, when you look at the fact that we don't have a full-time special teams coach, and you look at how special teams hurt us this year, Notre Dame, Oregon, and then you look at how our defense played at times, you would feel like you would think he'd want to fill that role, as CEO over everything. Like if we can't if we're having problems on defense and we can't dedicate anybody to special teams and we're losing games on special teams, or that's impacting games, then you would think he'd want to elevate so he can have a better view and have and contribute better to that. But that wasn't the case. The issue of taking him off the headset in the play calling is that's his thing. That's his baby. He's known as the offensive guru, even though we didn't see that in this game. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I feel like his value would be less to us if he did that. I think he needs to hire a special teams coach, a full-time coach, bring somebody to the NFL, whatever it may be. We have to figure out, who's going to be our defensive coordinator, because what was happening yesterday on defense, that wasn't it. That's not the answer. Okay. And then offensively, obviously, probably use some input because, again, we probably had better options on 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 6 than what he did. And, it just hurt, man. But even with that, I mean, again, he's supposed to be this offensive genius. And don't get me wrong, guys. Yes, he's had good offenses, and our offense was
absolutely
decent this year. We had a good offense this year, but we need more. We're lacking. And Mark, you're right. It may make sense to have Coach Hewitt or whoever come in and just call plays, because at this point it's not working and that clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. We're losing games because with bad calls, bad management, we're losing games, and we need better oversight. We really do. We need somebody to come in there and help out with the bigger picture, because I feel like it falls apart in pieces. You know what I'm saying? Here, there, and maybe he's too focused on the offense. Seriously, and just and maybe that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. He's too focused on the offense. He's thinking about the play that didn't work. He's watching the play that's in action at the moment, and the play that's going to come after that. It's like there's so much stuff going on. Look at the clock.
Yeah, and he's been a head coach now in total for almost 10 years. A few years at Oklahoma. We're going on 5 years here. He should have perspective and awareness that would allow him to be more of the CEO type. You know what I'm saying? Like he's seen enough, been through enough to kind of realize, and learn from special teams and defense. So, I know this going into next season, I'm expecting and hoping to see something different in the coaching staff and just how they operate as a team management, game management. We need help in that area because we're struggling.
Without a doubt. And look, before we hear the comments, we're well aware that USC was playing with a makeshift offensive line. They've been doing that all year. We're well aware that Mecca Lemon and Jacoby Lane and Lake McCree and all of Jane Mayaba's guys weren't there. We know that. You don't need to tell us the obvious. But that doesn't explain, USC's best passing routes being a go route or Jaden just, throwing those 50-50 balls down the middle of the field, which, by the way, if he would ever learn to throw a deep ball accurately where the receiver isn't waiting for the ball, maybe USC has more points. Who knows?
But Mark, think about all those amazing catches Mekhi Lemon made.
That's the thing. Exactly. I know where you're going with that.
Now I'm kind of wondering, some of those throws was Jaden just throwing it up, you know what I'm saying? And just Mekhi being who he is and just making those catches and making the quarterback look better than he is. And guys, I'm not down on Jaden. I love Jaden as our quarterback, and I'm happy he's coming back third year in the system. I expect him to play very well next year for us. He played well for us this year. But, again, you're kind of wondering now, look at Jacoby Lane, all those great catches he made. You know what I'm saying? So now you're looking at the quarterback a little bit differently, right? Because now you don't have those guys who can make those elite catches, and we're relying on your timing, on your accuracy, on your touch. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's not where we thought it was with Jaden, just to be honest, and I hate that.
Well, we all want him to take that next step in 2026. He needs to take that next step. You can't be the dude who looks great playing in the Coliseum, but the second you're playing in another stadium that you're not as familiar with, you can't be 53% completion rate, 1 touchdown, because it was a great catch by Jaden Richardson and 2 interceptions. And I am not putting the interceptions solely on Jaden. I want to be clear about that.
Well, I'll tell you this: on their first interception,
there's 3 defenders in the area.
Yeah, but the one in the end zone, I feel like the receiver should have came flat. Versus
he did. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. But that was the freshman. That was the freshman wide receiver Corey Sims.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jaden expected him to come back to the goal line rather than the way he cut off the route.
He was getting to the back of the end zone when he should have been coming flat or downhill. And that's why he picked it off. But again, he threw in a double coverage. Mekhi Lemon would have caught that probably. Seriously, he has awareness, and he's a different player, veteran player. So, but
like I said, the one that bothered me the most was the one that they threw to the tight end down the seam. Granted, now maybe Tupou should have been outside the hash marks. Maybe he should have been further inside the hash marks. Jaden still has to be able to see 3 defenders in the area. I mean, that's the bottom line. It was a bad decision, and you saw the result. All right.
And some of that with the receivers, again, some of that comes with experience and playing awareness and all that stuff. But still, when you look at the totality of all of it, we just didn't look good. We didn't look well coached. We didn't look motivated. Like Lincoln Riley had every reason to go out there and get this 10th win. It was to say we're 10-3 is different than 9-4. It feels different. It sounds different. It gives you different confidence, double digits. I mean, so and that's what we've been talking about ever since the last game of the season. We're going to go into the bowl game. We'll get our 10th win, undefeated at home. That was our whole spiel. You know what I'm saying? Now we'll take this into the next segment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Marvin. The perception is USC could have been 10-3 at the end of the year, but it's the same old story. They find a way to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. I might have said that backwards, but you understand where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
It just seems like if Lincoln's in a close game down the stretch, he'll find a way not to win the game. And until he proves otherwise, that's who he is.
And that's it. It's time to prove it. It's time to prove it.
Yeah, that's coming up next segment. There is nothing like college football, Marvin. That's why you and I are here talking about it. It's our passion. It's what we love. We love the tailgates, the packed stadiums, being right there in the middle of it all. I mean, you played the game, the energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever, but actually getting tickets, that part, it's pretty frustrating. You got those long queues. You got to log in. Sometimes you got to log back in because you get logged out somehow. And then all of a sudden you're ready to check out and the price jumped on you. That's why Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences, and you can do it in just a few taps. You'll be able to see the view from your seat before you check out, which is really cool. You're going to know exactly what you're getting. And Game Time also has what they call their zone deals. These things really stand out. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, you save even more. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms will apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. After the game, Coach Riley did his best to paint a really pretty picture for the future, right? Let me tell you what he said. And he was answering a question. I think all those things you just said, but honestly, kind of how our locker room was 10 minutes ago, you could just tell, when you've been in those programs that have been part of those teams that have done those things, you feel what it's like. This place is doing all the things that you need to do to put yourself in position to go bust that door down and do it. He continued, I really believe a window is here, and it has opened up, and it's taken a lot of effort by a lot of people, a lot of commitment by a lot of people. 4 fun but really challenging years to get it open, but it's open now. We all feel that. All of us that are fortunate enough to be able to come back here next year, because it's not our right, coaching or playing. Working at USC is not anybody's right. It's a privilege. Those of us that have the privilege to be able to come back, we know what our job is. It's to make all the efforts of all of those people these last 4 years worth it. That's what we're going to do. Marvin, how do those words resonate with you as far as the future of the program?
Let me tell you something. I'm tired of the coach talk. I'm tired of the, and he's okay at the microphone, but we're past that. We're going into year 5 of a $120 million contract. Okay. I've watched Texas Tech come out of nowhere and become relevant. I've watched Indiana come out of nowhere and be relevant. And when I look at what, and I was one of the people who were saying our NIL was behind, when he took over from Clay Helton, the program wasn't where it should have been. And that's true. But you know something, and going into his 5th year, especially after the loss, not that we lost the game, Mark, it's how we lost the game. Okay. How we lost the game pisses me off more than the fact that we lost the game. And on 3rd and 20, when we know they're going to set up for the field goal, we have a running back break 4 tackles. I mean, listen, Lincoln Riley, the words around Lincoln Riley are soft, not a defensive coach, and I emphasize soft, you know what I mean? And and you look at our 2024 season, what happened? We weren't physical and we couldn't finish. What happened on the last play of that game? We weren't physical and we couldn't finish. Okay. You had asked me a couple of shows ago how much time we're giving this guy. And I was telling you, Mark, we have to wait until 2027. No. What I saw in the second half of that TCU game tells us that we are much further behind than I thought we were. Okay. And I mean that. And it breaks my heart to say that as a coach or as a team, we're much further behind than I thought we were. Next year is his year. I mean, that's it. I want him to be successful. Y'all know I'm a Trojan. I support our people, but we got to tell the truth, okay? And the last play of that game told me more and showed me more than I needed to see. And at the end of the day, he has to win these games and win games to get that soft label off to him. He has to figure out something with this defense to get that label of he doesn't care about defense off of him. Because right now, all the things that we've heard about him from the guys from Oklahoma, all the fans from Oklahoma, what they had to say, now we're starting to see it. You're starting to really see it. All right. So no, we can't wait until 2027. Next year is his year. And if we can't do it next year, and I'm talking about going to the playoffs isn't enough. We need to win that playoff game. Okay. We need to win a game in the playoff. Okay.
I can go there. I can take that next step with you. At least we can win.
We can't do 8-4, 9-3, and not in the playoffs is not acceptable. It's just not. That's a repeat of this year. So no, at this point, what I'm realizing is, Link, you are what your record says you are. And his record is the same as Clay Helton's record. That's a problem. That's the problem. Clay Helton's ass is at Georgia Southern now. Okay, if listen,
and they won their bowl game.
Don't rub it in, Mark. But I'm serious though. Like, this is his year. This is it. Listen, I am going into this next season optimistic and gung ho, and the standard is the standard. Mark, if we get this again, he has to go. He ain't it. So, the thought was this job was too big for him. That's what people were saying. That's what I was thinking. And we've been giving him time to kind of prove us wrong. And there have been moments. Okay. We've had our moments. Listen, again, we played the Big Ten schedule. We went 7-0 at home. Great. But that's not the standard at USC. I'm saying we played for championships, for the championship. And after 4 years, you have the same record as Clay Helton, and you lose to a team that you were favored to, and TCU? TC who? You know what I'm saying? That's who we lose to. And in the situation where we can win the game, or at least continue to compete in the game, we can't make a tackle on the sideline on 3rd and 20. That is everything that I've heard about Lincoln. Soft, no defense, can't finish, can't win the big game, and he has to change that. And if not, listen, like he said, it's a privilege to be here.
There you go.
The right to be here. And he brought a couple of trophies home. The Heisman matters. The Blendikoff matters. It does matter. It adds to a great trophy case that we have. But at the end of the day, after what we're investing, after what you said the Mecca of college football. He said it's going to be the Mecca of college football. We ain't nothing close to that right now. It's a joke to say that. You know what I'm saying? So no, this is it now. Lincoln, we gotta. If he don't get this right, he can go to UCF. He can go to South Florida, Colorado State, whatever's calling for him next. But this is it for him. I mean, he has to get it done now. We can't wait 2 more years. It's already been 4 years. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and no playoffs. No playoffs. I know we got close with Caleb. Caleb got hurt. This year we were close. Close ain't the standard. You know what I'm saying? We don't celebrate close. They celebrate close at UCLA. They celebrate close at, Boise State. We don't do that here. So
the last 3 seasons at USC, 15 losses. 15 losses over the last 3 seasons. I'm not great at math, but I know that's 5. That's average of 5 per year. Just saying.
Did Nick Saban even lose 15 games in his whole tenure at Alabama? You know what I'm saying? Like, so again, and people, we were Alabama before. We've been Ohio. We've been that. You know what I'm saying? Multiple times in our timeline at USC football, we've been that. That's who we are. That's the standard.
We helped make Alabama what they are today with Sam Bam Cunningham back in the early 70s.
100%.
You know exactly where I'm going with this. I'm not going to go down that line right now. But
there
is a major cultural shift in college football because the SEC, they didn't have players that look like you.
No,
they didn't.
No, I know that.
And that Bear Bryant said, if we're going to compete with that, we need players like that.
So we had to show them, and we showed them. We showed them on Legion Field. We went out there and did that. Sam Bam did his thing. Listen, out of his mouth, I was one of the people who celebrated when we hired him. I mean, I had my own parade here at the house. Me and Marvin Powell IV and my daughter. Like we celebrated this, And when he said the Mecca of college football, I felt that, and I believe that because that's what we've been. You know what I'm saying? He has shown us the opposite of that. I mean, when you look at the totality of where we're at and what's going on. So no, I mean, and you watch these other programs. You know what I mean? A&M fired their coach. They hired another coach. They were in the playoffs. Within Mike Elko's second year, they're in the playoffs. So, you look at UM, you know what I mean? So, I mean, there's no excuse. It's leadership. We have a leadership problem. Okay. And that involves identifying talent correctly. You know what I'm saying? Schematics, motivating these players. I mean, what we saw, I wanted to vomit on the last play of that game. I could not believe that's how our season is going to end. To TC who? You know what I mean? So
Lincoln is going to be working with his 3rd defensive coordinator in his tenure at USC. Alex Grinch gone, Dan Lynn going home to Penn State. We're not sure who the next one's going to be. Is it going to be from in-house? Are they bringing somebody from outside? There are some positives. I don't want people to think that you and I are just digging the grave and putting the day on.
Let me tell
You
you
got
something.
the number one ranked recruiting class coming in. You do. You got NIL that is ready to compete against anybody. You've got the new football performance center that's going to be opening up in the spring. As you said, Lincoln Riley has everything he needs to be successful.
This is smart. Listen, when he came in, I was thinking Howard Jones. I was thinking John McKay. I was thinking John Robinson. I was thinking Pete Carroll. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what I was thinking we were getting. You know what I'm saying? A guy who had a couple years in Oklahoma. And what I realize now is, again, he walked into a situation in Oklahoma that was already settled. Bob Stoops had quit at the beginning of the season, in the preseason. That team was already set. Program was in place. Lincoln had to build this program, and again, we've had certain levels of success, but almost ain't USC. If we were UCLA, they'd be popping champagne at 9-4. You know what I mean? They'd be popping champagne, running through Westwood, doing their thing. That's
TCU
not what
celebration. That's exactly what TCU celebration looked like last night. I saw videos of it. They were popping champagne. They were jumping up and down.
Remember when Tulane beat us? That was the greatest season of their whole school, football school. That was the greatest season. You know what I mean? So, no, we have a higher standard here. He said it. He called it out. He knows it. As he said, Mark, it's a privilege. You know something? And right now, he's pooping on the privilege right now, the opportunity to be the head coach at USC. Lincoln Riley, we are in this thing together. We need results, man. We don't need coach talk. We don't need a good press conference. We need wins against teams that matter. We need to compete in the playoffs the way that you said that we would. And we're not seeing it.
Absolutely. And look, it's not just you, it's not just me. There are a lot of former players now that are being much more outspoken. We'll put Keyshawn's comments to the side a little bit. He might have taken it a step too far. Stuart Cravens came out after the game, and he's like, bottom line, open up the doors, let the media back in. Let's have some accountability with this program. Until that happens, we just have to take it at his word, and that, we have physical practices. Look, coaches, players, they are never going to talk down about their own program. That's part of the fraternity. That's how it works. They're always looking at the positive side of things.
Mark.
Right now, you cannot be going 11-3 with Caleb Williams and then have these types of seasons like this. It's not gonna work. Not at the salary he's earning.
The last play of the game epitomized everything. Soft, not physical, not finishing, not being able to finish. Like in 2024, all those games that we were in that we couldn't finish. The last play of that TCU game epitomized everything that's wrong with the Lincoln Riley program. Something has to be different moving forward, Mark. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't even know, Mark. I don't even know if the question is this job too big for him? When you look at the expectations, okay, our expectations are what Ohio State has been in the last decade, what Alabama has been. That justifiably, that's what we've been. That's the expectation. We ain't nothing close to that, Mark. It's heartbreaking, man.
But you know what, Marvin? It's a brand new year. Happy New Year 2026. We are going to hope for the best. And, I use this saying all the time.
Hope is not a strategy.
Thank you. I was just about to say, this is what my grandfather used to tell me as a kid. Because I said, Grandpa, I hope I get this for Hanukkah. He said, Mark, hope in one hand. Go pick up that dog poop in the other hand. Tell me what you got. I hear you. I feel you. I understand it. I totally get it. We are going to be back again, though. Again, we're not done talking USC football this season. We will continue to talk about it. Now we've got basketball season that we get into. We've got winter conditionings coming up. You got the transfer portal starting a day after New Year's Day, January 2nd. That'll be open for 10 days. There's going to be a lot of movement. Things are going to be really fluid right now. You and I will be using the F word a lot. Fluid. Now, we might throw in the other F word every now and then, but we're talking about transfer portal, kind of getting your thing ready for spring camp. We're going to be talking about that all during the offseason.
Mark, when you're the head coach at USC, you got to be an MFer. You got to be an SOB. You know what I mean? And those are the guys that win. You know what I'm saying? What they just got at Michigan, Kyle Whittingham, he's an MFer. He's an SOB. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the mentality of coach. That's what we need. And I don't know.
There's not a coach on that staff right now who has that mentality that you're talking about.
That's the problem.
At least one that we can see and convey to you.
Yeah, and that's what Sewell was saying. We need guys, Trojan guys, people who've been in it, who know what it is to be out there. Keyshawn Johnson was not wrong for what he said. I mean, what we realize now is that Notre Dame had a bigger role in all that. They had other things from the get-go. We know that now. But every Trojan player that I've spoken to, quite a few, they felt exactly like he did. Keyshawn was 100% right in how he felt about it. He shouldn't have hit send. But I ain't mad at him. He's a legend. He's the best receiver we ever had. He has every right to get up there. Matt Leinart said, next year is your year. He came out on Twitter and said, next year has to be the year. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm with them. Lincoln, I'm rooting for you, man. I mean that. I'm rooting for you, Lincoln. I'm rooting for you, man.
I'll be the first person in line to kiss his shoes when I see a championship ring on its way. I'll be the first person. I'll say, Coach, you know what? I gave you a really hard time. I was really critical, but it's only because I wanted the best for you and for the program. Thank you. Thank you for backing up your words. It took a little bit longer than we all wanted, but you made it happen. Like you said, Marvin, it's a privilege. He said it, his own words, and that's all we want. Back up the words. Put it into action. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, man. We can go on forever about this. I know how passionate you are about it. I know how passionate I am about it. Sometimes people think that I don't see I can't see the forest for the trees. That's not the case.
Man, sometimes you got to tell it. Sometimes you got to tell it. You got to say what it is. Say what people are thinking. Listen, everybody in Trojan Nation felt the exact same way that we're talking on that last play of the game. Everybody who loves USC felt the same disgust and WTF on that last play of the game. Everybody felt it. We just saying it now. You know what I mean?
I was like you, man. I was like you. I slammed my laptop shut.
Literally.
Wasn't feeling good. I said, I told the guys in the press box that I'm not going. I don't feel it. I can't do it because I'm going to say something I don't want to say because I don't feel good. I'm walking back to the hotel.
Yeah.
All right, man. One more time. Happy New Year, Marvin. Happy New Year to your family. Happy New Year to the Locked On USC family. Thank you so much for doing this. Without you, I'm not doing this. I do it for you. It's a labor of love. It's not a labor of making money. I'll tell you that right now. But keep spreading the word. If you are watching on YouTube, get more people to watch the show because I think they're going to enjoy it. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss an episode. We will be back again tomorrow with another episode. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.